question I get asked a lot is, how much did I drink? Well, to start with, probably like most people, I had just 2 or 3 drinks 2 or 3 times a week. In my late teens, early teens, I did dabble a bit with my dad's home brew and all that sort of thing. But I always seemed to have a bit of a tolerance to it. Even when I was younger, I had played in a band. A couple of lads used to come down to mine and practice on weekends when my parents were away on holiday. My sister was a bit younger than me, and I used to have the house to myself, 16, 17. And we always had a few cans of beer. We used to drink Ace Lager. I don't know if anybody remembers that. Grey cans of Ace Lager. It was quite weak stuff, really, but I used to mix that with a bit of home brew. And some of that I just get quite drunk, really. I used to go home 5, 6 o'clock at night. I used to watch them sort of weaving their way up the road a little bit unsteady. And ring me up there and said, God, I feel terrible after all that home brew. And I used to go out later that night and I used to feel fine. But I built up quite a high tolerance to alcohol quite quickly. And then I joined the police service in South London to start with, and then the West End of London. I met guys who were older than me. I joined at 21. And I never forget this guy. He became very senior. I'll just give him name's Jim. And he was a very fit bloke. I remember he was older than me, about 27. And he said he fancied a few pints before we meet. Well, we had a meeting the next day, I think about 10 o'clock. I had to meet this superintendent or something. Yeah, I'll have a few pints. I'm at this little pub nearby. And I'd been used to have maybe 4, 5, 6 pints. We're about 12 pints that night, on a Sunday night. I say he was quite a big, fit lad. And I thought, gosh, I love to drink that, but I was all right. Next day I felt terrible, and he was sort of bouncing around. He felt great. He even went to the gym after. He took me to the gym with him. And I felt dreadful, but he was all right. Because he was a bit older, maybe a bit fitter, all this sort of thing. And then from then I gravitated to, got promoted, and I went to West End of London. And by then I was drinking quite steady. I was married, had a house, responsibilities, but I was earning quite decent money, did plenty of overtime and whatnot. And there was lots of opportunity in central London to drink. A lot of late bars, all this sort of thing. And I moved up to Essex, and I was on the Underground line, so I didn't have to drive in. So I used to get finished work maybe 2:30 and early turn 10:30 on a late turn. I used to go to the pub after both those shifts, and some even went to the pub in the morning after 6:30. Some markets have early hours pubs for market traders and like special exemption licenses, and I used to have a few drinks then. And over time it started to build up. And then on my days off I could regularly drink a lot more than that. And I would, a normal day would be in my late 20s, early 30s, 15 pints, which sounds a lot. But over a whole day, it isn't when you're a big drinker, And I didn't drink spirits, I didn't drink wine. It was mainly beer or Guinness sometimes, that sort of thing. Maybe a glass of cider. It was in the summer. And when I had a long weekend, we used to have one long weekend off every month then, I think. And we used to have this thing called Thursday Club. We'd finish 2:30 on a Thursday, and you went back on nights till the following Monday. It was quite a big break. You had Thursday night, or Thursday afternoon, Thursday night, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, then you could have a lie-in Monday. It was sort of recovery time, isn't it, really? Because when you're a big drinker, you need your recovery time. You plan things ahead. So on those sort of days, we used to go to a police club in Soho, where the drinks were a little bit cheaper, actually. So we used to have a few pints in there, and then go to some of the bars around about. And Soho, Mayfair was great fun. I mean, I loved it. I loved drinking. And I had a little bit of cash, and eventually the money was a little bit tight. I thought, God, I have to get some on credit cards. I was hiding credit card statements and all this sort of thing. So I was drinking more and more. I used to have my days off. And I used to really look forward to my days off, because before I had any children, just me and the wife, who didn't really get on with. That's another story. And I was living a good life, really, to be honest with you. I enjoyed my work, enjoyed my friends, socialised a lot with the guys I work with and the girls we work with. I had a really good time. Big sort of, tight-knit group. Just put money in a whip. And some of the lads would just go home after 4 or 5 hours. But I was one of the long stayers, as it were. So sometimes on this Thursday, we'd finish 2:30. I've got the drinks at 3. I said wander around a little bit more, a few more in the local bars, and go to a club called Hombres Club off Oxford Street. And it was often had a deals on where every drink was 50p or something. It's a long time ago, this. And then another a club called Rheingold's, which is open till about 3 or 4 in the morning. So you imagine I was drinking for 12, 13 hours, so I could often drink 20 pints. So I'd get home somehow, or even stay in central London on Thursday. It was no good for domestics. You can imagine. Then Friday, I felt terrible, so I used to go drinking again. And she was at work, so hair of the dog. The whole weekend would be written off. But some days I could drink 20, 25 pints over a whole day. I have a couple of cans in the morning, then go to the pub at 11, and then drink steadily all day, and be the same at night, and then go out again at night. So sometimes I used to go to the pub called the Forest Gate in Epping Forest. I used to go there at 11 in the morning, come back home, maybe go do a bit of shopping or something. She would drive, obviously, and then go back over again at 5 o'clock or 7, have a bite to eat, then go out again at 9 to Epping High Street. There's a pub there at 1 o'clock in the morning as well. There's all sorts of carrying on. I actually met Paul Gascoigne, would you believe, in one of the pubs, one of the late night pubs in Epping once, with a big entourage of his. And my life became one big party, really. I mean, obviously I had to be responsible when I went back to work, but my days off were really, I enjoyed them at the time. I still felt terrible though, the next day, but I sort of got over the withdrawals. I was still young and fit, you see. And then my daughter came along when I was 30, and that changed things totally, because I had childcare and more responsibility and all that sort of thing. Domestic issues came into, and I was under a lot of stress at home, and I was sort of sneaking drink a bit by then, but I still drank a lot on my days off, and that's how I got into it. Really, I was drinking more and more, and I had this tolerance. I very rarely had a day off it, and a couple of times I didn't have a drink at all, and I felt much better. Those were the days before I was sort of physically and chemically dependent on it. But when somebody says, how much did you drink? It wasn't just the quantity, it was the regularity of it. And I've spoken to liver specialists in the past. This is not because you drink, spirits, wine, it doesn't make any difference what you drink. There's ethanol in all alcohol, which is the poison which causes fatty liver, then fibrosis, and cirrhosis, and obviously end-stage liver disease when they got liver failure. And I wasn't far off that in 2019 when I was taken to hospital and really ill with ascites, fluid, all the symptoms of decompensated liver disease, to be fair. And I was given 50-50 chance of survival then. It's 5.5 years ago, October 2019. That's my last drink. And since then my life's turned around, but for the first 2 or 3 years, until about 2022, I was in and out of hospital all that time. I was in a wheelchair, couldn't walk. For a week, went down 9 stone, all that sort of thing. So you can turn it around. So when you're starting to drink into double figures regularly, then you've got a problem. I met a mate of mine the other day who said, I've got a bit of an issue. And I knew him from London, actually, but he lives in the northeast now. And he said, weekends I'm drinking too much. I said, well, how much are you drinking? He said, well, maybe sort of 18, 20 pints. I said, well, that's not too bad over a weekend. It's on Friday, Saturday, maybe Sunday lunch. So he said, no, that's every weekend night. 17, 18 pints on a Friday, same on a Saturday, same on a Sunday. So it's a colossal amount of alcohol. And I'm doing one-to-one mentoring and support now. It's amazing how many people I speak to who are drinking that amount and more every day. And it's no wonder they get anxiety, stress, depression, all this sort of thing, because it really does have a massive effect on your mental and physical health. It's a killer. So when you start to see these numbers creep up, you think, wow, I've been out on the Saturday, I've had 12 pints, it's too much, far too much. You've got to tone it down before you get to the point where I was, where I couldn't stop. And then when I did try and stop, I used to have seizures. And that's very, very dangerous. So keep a drinking diary if you're concerned. If you're watching this, you probably are concerned about what you're drinking. You're probably wondering how you get off it and how much I drank to get in the state I was in, because I was near death, to be fair. And when it starts to creep up into double figures, then you've got to get some help. It doesn't matter what you're drinking, whether it's Carlsberg, Stella, Peroni, strong lager, wine, beer, because 8 cans of Budweiser is the same alcohol quantity as half a bottle of vodka. If you have 8 cans of Budweiser watching a football match, people won't think anything of it. But if you don't had half a bottle of vodka and Coke or something, they think, wow, he's got a problem. So all of us have got problems. We need to get them addressed if you want to live a longer life, because it will take you to an early grave. If you've got any issues, then give me a shout. I'll put all the details in the description. You know how to get in contact with me, just leave a comment, I'll get back to you. And I hope that you are learning a little bit from this, and if you benefit from the channel, then please subscribe and share it, because there's a lot of people out there who need help. If we do it as a team, it's far easier. Speak soon.